Okay, what we're doing here today is we are going to do a vinyl wrap on the cabinets. And yep, everybody's like, vinyl wrap? Why would I want to use vinyl wrap? Well, it looks pretty sharp. It's pretty resilient. Takes a good beating, supposedly. It's the same type of stuff that you'll see on the side of a van that's been wrapped. So what we're going to do is, first thing that we're going to do is you got to make sure you start with a nice clean surface. It's got to be cleaned up however you want to clean it. Usually a good alcohol or something like that. You know, a nice isopropyl alcohol or something will take care of it. We take a couple dimensions here. We note because what I want to do is I want to just do the edges. One of the things you'll see is the grain runs this way, and the grain runs this way, and the grain runs this way. This stuff right here is just a papery film that's on there. One of the old timers would tell me it's the antiques of tomorrow. You know, it's what they do. And if he's watching this, he knows exactly who he is. So we got 2.5 inches wide, and that's pretty much all the way around here. Plus we got the thickness of this, so it's about 3/4 of an inch. And we want to do is we want to roll it inside of here as well. Pretty much the only tools you're really going to need are a knife, a good razor knife. A lot of people use a craft knife, you know, a really sharp crafting knife. I got a nice old straight edge that works great for laying stuff out. I already got this all cleaned up and the hardware removed. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut these pieces. Now what I did was, because we just wanted to try it out to see how it works, we got one done. It seems to be pretty good. We're not too keen on the color, but we have an outdoor kitchen in our RV. So this is good enough for outdoor kitchen work. So what I'm going to do is, we've got the 2.5 plus the 3/4 plus this dimension here, which is, I measured it out to be about 3/4 to 3/8 of an inch. And if you go a little big, you can always trim it off, so it's not a big deal. So what I've come up with is 4.5 inches. Works really well. So we're going to take a Sharpie, keeping it simple. Take a Sharpie. I'm going to measure out 4.5 inches. Two spots. Take our straight edge here. Yeah, and this is one of the benefits of a rainy day and having a toy hauler, a place to do the project. So we've got a nice little setup back here so we can do this type of work even living in an RV. So we take our straight edge, go ahead and start cutting. And we're going to cut 3 pieces. 3 pieces, you ask why? Because once again, the grain's running this way, and this way. So we're going to take the grain to run here, just like that, and the grain to run here, and we're going to wrap the edges and get that all squared away there. And then we're going to leave this to overlap a little bit, so that when we do this piece here, you won't see the seam inside there. All right. So once again, we're going to cut a couple more of these. So we got to cut 3 of these total, because you got 4 sides, but one side is only going to be like 11.5 inches. So, and these are 2 feet wide, so you can go ahead and save some product and have a little less loss. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take, once again, 4.5 and 4.5. Cut it out. Now, one of the mistakes I made on the last one was I drew a line with the marker, and as you can see on the edges, I had to make sure I cut that off. So it's not that big a deal, but I'm trying to avoid making that mistake twice. Learn from your mistakes, right? So once again, 4.5 for the third piece. I'm just using just a piece of wood that we used to make puzzles with or something. It's got, it's a multi-purpose. Everything in here has got to have at least 2 purposes, or else it doesn't make the cut. Some term we use to, we try to make everything have 2 purposes. Okay, so now when you do this, a lot of my HVAC friends will recognize these tools. Pretty much all you need. So once again, you got this all cleaned up, and we're going to take, and we got to make sure that we have at least 3/4 of an inch, but we've got plenty of scrap down here, so we can pretty much center that up. We also want to make sure it goes over. So one of the things I did note in the last time was that instead of guessing whether or not you're going to be straight on the money, we can go ahead and take and measure out about 3/8 of an inch here, and using a black magic marker, it's not going to matter. Besides, you're going to be covering this up anyway, so we're going to take 3/8 of an inch. We're going to make a little mark here. I know you can't even see it. So 3/8 of an inch, make a little mark. And the reason I did that is it gives me a place to put this edge on and use that so that I can see if I'm lined up good. Alright, so next step is, now you don't want to just peel this all off completely. You want to start small, just a little piece. So, and that looks like a lot, but I got to get it beyond the, we're going to take and we're going to line it up with our mark, try to make it square. Now if you mess up, it's no big deal. You can just peel it right back off. It's pretty easy. Take, and we're going to, now what we want to do is we want to squeegee out the air pockets. Nice and easy. And then just start working it down. Now, just because we live in an RV doesn't mean that you can't do this in your house. I've seen it a lot. That's why I kind of got the idea. I saw a lot of videos of people doing their houses, their flats, whatever you want to call it, and just kind of work it, keep working it, keep working it. Now, this is where it gets tricky. See, what I do is, a lot of those videos they tell you to cut a certain way, and I'll explain that in a second here once we get to that. But for right now, we're going to start here, and we're going to start here. And I make it simple so that it just rolls right over. Alright. Now one of the other tools you're going to need is the hair dryer. Hair dryers work great. It's another multi-use tool that we have here. If we're camping in the wintertime, we got to defrost something. Well, we've got a means to defrost something. We use it, even though they recommend you don't do this. We also use it to defrost our refrigerators and all kinds of stuff. So it's a multi-purpose tool. Now you see how I did that? It just folded right over, nice and neat. And yep, you're right. It's got a little lip in there. So we're going to take and we're going to tuck that in there the best we can, because we want to leave the center piece in there. I think it looked pretty sharp when we did it. So we figured we try it in small stages here. Let's tuck that in, peel that off. And there's that one piece. Now it's a good idea to save those little pieces aren't that much, but it's a good idea to save your pieces. Like right here on the edge here, it's a little much there. So we're just going to whack this off a little bit here and fold that over in a sec, but I'm going to explain to you. When you fold these edges, there's a little bit more trick to it. I'm going to see, I just save that, and you'll see why in a couple steps here. Alright, so you'll see if I just fold this over, it's kind of like wrapping a present. Alright, if I fold this over, then I'm going to have a big gap there, so, or a bulgy mess. So, but you want to cut it so that it goes, and they say like 130 degrees. So when you fold this edge, so we're going to take that guy right there, and you see I just cut it on a little bit of a bias. I cut the wrong way. You want to cut it so that it goes like this. Right? Yeah, like that. Find the corner. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing's perfect. But you'll see when we take and now I just stretch that around the edges. Now you're not overly concerned because you're going to go ahead and you're going to see that, you'll see how we'll get little air pockets in there. So we want to make sure that we walk that around. We just keep walking it down. Okay? And then we're going to take this piece here and fold that. Now when we folded it, you see how it ended up with a little bit of a piece there. And you fold the edge over again like so. And you can go ahead and you just trim these off. A very sharp knife is very key. You're not going to go grab your grandfather's dull buck and make this work. You need a good brand new razor on your razor knife. You can use a razor knife. And it's not perfect, but it works pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and I got to correct this now. So I cut it the wrong way. If you cut it the wrong way, this is what you're going to end up with. So, you peel that back. Cut it back the other way. Actually, let's just cut it flush. Otherwise, we're going to end up seeing that too much. And if you're saying, well, he doesn't know what the heck he's doing, you said, you're absolutely right. I have no idea what I'm doing. So I'm just posting a video to post a video, I guess. But let's wrap that around, and it should be on the. That's on the bottom side anyway, so that's not that big a deal. So when I get all done with it, I just take this knife and just use the blade to go right around the edges. You can go ahead and wrap it if you'd like. Don't necessarily need to do that. It's on the inside, ain't nobody gonna see it but the mice. Hopefully you don't have any. Okay. And that is one side. Now, go around, just work some of these bubbles out. It's not perfect, but it works. For RV living, it's perfect. 11 1/4, we're going to